We are live! Hello, random people who join. Today's game of choice is Primal Carnage Extinction. I'm not going to run around a free roam map as a dinosaur, I swear.
And I think this is going to be off topic. So, we were discussing bits and bobs before.
Yes, well, today's episode is called New Dinosaurs. For a reason, because the trailer came out yesterday of Jurassic World Evolution.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Sorry, Jurassic World Rebirth, and which means we're getting a Jurassic World Evolution 3, which makes me incredibly happy because I genuinely enjoy those games. I was going to put it in the background, but
I have issues with F, so it's not the best game to put on for me.
No, you have issues with the guys who made it. I have, and I love it because I just enjoy building Jurassic World or building Jurassic Park. And then just seeing all the dinosaurs run. What I am hoping from the third game of that is I'm hoping that we get some more. Considering with the trailer that was just come out of Jurassic World Rebirth, I'm kind of hoping we get some more in that film. We're going to get more dinosaurs that are a little bit closer to accurate. Considering the fact that the Spinosaurus is finally back after 24 years.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do and who they've got on staff for it all, because.
Sorry. Well, here's the thing: the writer is the original writer of Jurassic Park, one of the original writers from Jurassic Park itself.
Oh, that's a good shot.
And it's Gareth Edwards that's doing the film. Is it Gareth Edwards? I can't remember his name. He's done a lot of really good films.
Oh.
So it's a really good director as well. I'm just happy because I am a simple person. I see dinosaurs in a movie. I want to watch the movie. I don't give a crap if it's terrible. I just want to watch dinosaurs kill people because it's funny.
Because there's so many terrible ones.
Oh yeah, there are so many terrible dinosaur movies. Now we're just playing on a free roam map on our own. But yeah, the trailer had some. We know that there is some sort of mutant dinosaur in this film. That's the only thing we kind of know. So we're getting a little bit of some of the stuff brought back from the actual books with the mutants that got loose. We're getting a little bit of that. There are some people who are a little bit mad about this because the Spinosaurus is actually back, and according to the Dino Tracker and a lot of the websites that correlate the canon of the films, the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3 was the only Spinosaurus ever created, according to that originally.
Yeah.
But I'm for me, I think you know my stance on this probably, where it's if it isn't stated in the movie, I don't care if you change it unless it's stated on the screen. I don't care, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's a good argument for that. Also, we don't know. It's all well and good following these sort of websites, but once again, they can only deal with the information that has been given to them up until that point.
Well, Dino Tracker itself is a Universal website. It's owned by Universal. It's them.
Yes, but it's
the
creators of each film or franchise. They're not going to be looking after that a year or even a month past the release of a film. They're not going to be adding anything extra to them unless they're making the next movie. But so what I'd say is those things are always in flux. Dependent on creative decisions. Now, for all we know, the Dino Trackers from let's say, for instance, Dino Trackers from the website, they were using animals that were tagged. But once a creature has given birth or laid an egg, in this case, and that egg has hatched, there is no one to tag the next one. So, if the one from Jurassic Park 3 had already laid a clutch of eggs, because we know from the first film, some of them were already born pregnant. It was part of what was happening.
It's part of the mistake that was happening.
Yeah, as well as part of the gender thing, but some of them ended up being asexual and just laying eggs. So you can have this, and so actually there could be a few. So there is, there is many logical reasons around that not being because. For a start, the tracking devices aren't going to be genetically passed on. They physically have to be
implanted in a new one.
So what that track
Well,
is.
we're also, remember, as we know from the trailer, we're going to a third island.
Yeah.
Which,
and there's loads of weird stuff going on in each island, because one was a theme park, but the others were
research and development.
Research bases and research development, holding pens.
Well, yeah, from what I can gather is that people getting mad, I can understand they're kind of getting mad because Jurassic Park 2 establishes that Site B is the research site. But to me, it seems like Lost World site isn't just the research site, it's the... not just the research site, it's the site for basically where they were breeding them. Where this one, which is I'm going to call Site C because it's a new island, is essentially, to me, it seems like it was their experiment of, okay, so if we breed these things and we know we can't stop them breeding, let's see how this island's ecosystem handles that. To see what could go wrong with the cloning, because they're going to change things that aren't in the book because they can't do everything that's in the book.
No, my only issue with that is if we just go by what we know from the movies in its timeline, they didn't know that the dinosaurs were breeding inside and outside of different pens.
Oh yeah.
Until Alan tells them. So they couldn't have pre-planned for that unless you find out that actually something shady been going on.
Oh yeah, well, I was more than I think it could be that's the thing that overran this island. Basically, is why they lost contact with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you can easily see story-wise and plot-wise, you can easily go for something along the lines of, as we know, there were multiple islands there, and the site that we see in Lost Worlds, the second island, is actually, let's say, a research base, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have a research base on another island. Like you say, something goes wrong, and they can't just get rid of it. So do you know what they said? They may have, these things have their limited lifespan. You'll walk away from the island until it dies. Unfortunately, one, it didn't die, and two, everything went to shit before they could go back. So yeah, there are many logical reasons, many story reasons and plot points that could easily be transferred in for there being actually all of these islands have something on them. One could be for just the early stages of dinosaurs, just to actually monitor them. A small island where you can actually monitor them in small wildland areas to do research.
Oh yeah.
And then you have another island in which you only had herbivores. One island you only had carnivores.
And see how we can find out how much they to eat and how much they don't.
But yeah, but not so much that. It's just that then you keep those remote pens there, and then when like in a zoo, when one of your animals gets sick or dies, you pull it out straight away. One of the ones you've got is ready to go. On the other island, you ship it over. So there are many reasons why there could be loads of different things.
Well, yeah, because they have to grow otherwise they have to wait for them to kind of grow up a little bit.
Yeah, and of course people are going to come there to see baby dinosaurs. That's why people go to the zoo to see baby animals. If your big king lion or your big silverback gorilla dies on Monday, you know what? You need to get another one in by Friday, because next Monday you ain't getting anyone into your zoo. So that's the same thing. You lose your big T-Rex, you have to get your new big T-Rex into the park as soon as possible. So I can see there being loads of them. So yeah, people just like to win. I mean, at the moment, especially for people just whinging with new movie trailers, we've got two great ones going on. One, people complaining that why is Superman wearing his pants?
Oh yes, the underwear.
I'm sorry. People that are hardcore comic book fans having a go at everyone else saying that's stupid his character looks. Did you read anything that wasn't inspired by Snyder? Because
I know, right?
All of that stuff, this really has underpants. The only one that doesn't in TV, other than Snyder, is Tyler Hecton. They decided not to go for the red trunk look because it's the new 52. So yeah, I'm surprised and shocked that so many people don't realise that Superman wore red trunks for almost 100 years.
Oh yeah, I'm being shot at.
But yeah, so you had people complain about that, and it just seems to be anger for anger. Same like you're saying with these plot points, and my other one that he's got around at the moment, which I didn't think would ever be an issue. Why is the Thing's eyes so blue? You mean the guy that's called the ever-loved Blue Eye Thing? Why would his eyes be blue?
I got killed by a dinosaur.
I mean, I literally did have to respond to that on a post where someone was bitching about the colour of his eyes and saying that they just don't look real. And I was like, he's a rock man. But it was like, no, they're too bright, they're too blue, they're too blue.
I'll tell you why that is. It's because of the previous movies. That's why.
It is because that is the only thing that they've ever seen. They've not read comic books, they've just seen movies. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, it's like I have no issues with MCU fans that are only fans of the MCU itself.
No, not at all. I've got many reasons why I love the fact that there are so many fans of this stuff. But yeah, if that's all you've got, if that's all the lore you've got, then fine. But when other stuff gets added in and people come and say, actually, this is what it always used to be like, and it's not going to be a big story change, but it is sweet for us. Why lose your rag? Why get so angry with someone going, oh no, this is actually how it always used to be? It's just a small tweak. It's actually got to change anything at all, other than his eyes are now that blue.
I may or may not just jump that dude in the face because he shot me last time.
He did. It was quite funny. It was definitely a scene from Jurassic Park when the big hunter guy from the second one is just sitting there with his rifle. I'm not trying to think. He just looked around like, yeah.
Do you mean the first one? Clever girl.
No, I wasn't. In particular, I wasn't thinking that. Oh, do you remember the big game hunter in the second one?
Oh yes.
And he's got the big, massive elephant gun. And it doesn't help.
No, it does not. It was also basically I looked at him, he looked at me, and then I jumped on him. It's just like, yep, that was a mistake. Should have shot first.
Funny enough, I had a very similar situation once when I was working in security, and I saw someone shoplifting and I literally waited outside the door for them to walk out the door towards me with all the shit. And they were looking down at something and then looked up at me. And it was just a second of us just two looking at each other before an action had to happen. And we both literally just jumped at each other at the same time and smacked heads into each other. Boom. Both dazed and confused on the floor like a pair of cartoon kittens. It was hilarious.
Oh, he left after I killed him. He killed me once. I stayed in the game. I killed him once. He left. But yeah, I am genuinely Rebirth. Has me excited because one, it's a Jurassic Park movie. I love every film in the franchise. I'm one of those people that I don't, controversially probably to some people, I don't think there's been a bad movie in the franchise. Like, yes, Dominion is nowhere near as good as Jurassic Park 1, right? I'm not going to say it's as good as the original. You know what I mean? But it's not a bad movie, but it does suffer from, I will say this, one problem that I think is also a problem the MCU is currently having a little bit, where the MCU is kind of finally getting away from doing that, but it does have it a little bit, where to get some of the plot points in movies, you kind of have to have watched like a TV show, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like to get some of the stuff of how Dodgson got the thing in the movie universe versus how he gets it in the, versus the actual books and stuff. You have to watch the actual the animated show Camp Cretaceous, because in that there's a bit where Dodgson's on the island and Dodgson finds Nedry's canister, and that's how he got the canister in that universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the thing about it, in the reality of everything is I have no issues with stuff like that because I generally tend to consume anything. It's also Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, and the new one Chaos Theory are just so good and have no right to be as good as they are. I think we were going to have a little discussion about this at the time when I mentioned it briefly. But Jesus Christ, for a show that I was like, oh yeah, this is just it's going to be a fun kid show. I'm not going to have anything dark happen. The end of the first towards the end of the first season, like what the hell? Just right before the last two episodes, it's We know they didn't kill him off in the second season because of when he shows back up in the second season. But like the last 3 episodes, when you basically have Ben get carried off by the pterodons, and it's like, you just killed a major character that we've had for the entire season, like and then when they go to get a fight, like, yes, they're going to escape, and it's no, they're not. They're trapped on this island. Yeah. And I will say this: I'm actually a fan of the third hybrid dinosaur that got introduced in that series. You know, the Scorpius Rex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't seen. As you know, I'm not fully up to date, so I only watch it.
No, I'm on about the third Camp Cretaceous one, the first one, which was set, most, because it's all set between Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic World 2, which is what I like. And I like that the end of the first season, not the first season, the last season, the final episode, the last scene is literally Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's final bit, where you've got Darius and Kenji sat there, like, having a chat with everyone else on, like, their version of, like, Skype or, Teams or, like Zoom and whatever, having a chat with each other. And then they look, and then it's like you get the news report, and then it's like he looks out the window and there's a freaking Brachiosaurus outside the house, just walking past. Like, oh crap! It's like that's the thing. The only thing I'm wondering about Rebirth, my only thing about it that makes me kind of wonder is probably not entirely like. So some people's going to be like, oh no, you got to be worry about that. You got to. I don't care about that bit because I think it was stupid. But I want to know if we're living because we know it's after Dominion and after Fallen Kingdom. Are we living in the world where dinosaurs are technically now part of, like, that people just have to live with them? That it's they are just now part of nature again. Mm-hmm. And that's the bit I want to know, because it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of is a little bit of a, I kind of need to know this because I need to know if, or are we going back to where dinosaurs don't roam the world? Because I get the idea that this island is the place where all the stuff that hasn't escaped into the world is. It's the stuff that, these ones are the, the dangerous ones that no one really knew about. And these are also, they're probably the first generation of clones, if you think about it. So, the ones that, like in the book, as you mentioned not on the podcast, but you mentioned earlier when we were talking about it, the ones that were meant. A lot of them are probably bred from clones that were possibly meant to be discarded because they weren't correct, and that's probably why these ones are all. We've got a big mutant dinosaur in this film, which I have no issues with that. I'm all fine if we're experienced with the cloning stuff. We have to do the experimentation of what happens when cloning goes wrong. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of, I feel like that's what we needed to explore in, like, the other films. We needed to know what happens when it goes wrong.
Well, the thing is, the problem with the cloning story is that it was something that was it's only something really quietly mentioned.
Oh yeah.
In the first film, it's something that can easily be thrown away, or missed. Whereas in the books, it is a big plot point.
Oh yeah, which is why I'm happy that they're exploring it and doing a bit different direction with this one and going with the clone side of the story from the original books a little bit more. It sounds like more. I have no problem with that. Actually, to me, that sounds like a fun, like, little thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, let's explore the clone side of the book a bit more, the books, and take some more inspiration from it. Like, I've no issues with that because it'll be kind of fun to see what's happening. Why does this thing look so weird?
Yeah, but I mean, there is actually a dark way you could take the story. I think, if they wanted to.
Well, we also know that we know in the films. We already know canonically there is one human cloning that was done. Like in the films wise, it's Maisie. She's a clone of her. She's either a clone of her.
You're right, actually. Yes, it did get mentioned again. You're right. I forgot that whole plot point in the Jurassic World movies. There was
Maisie's meant to be the clone of her mother, basically, and her mother the way she cloned her was instead of making a clone, she made herself pregnant. Is what the end result was. It wasn't just you're not a test tube baby. You are literally her clone of her that she grew herself in a womb so that she could. And
so I was thinking here along these lines. So in the books, I think it's Dr. Malcolm. It's either Dr. Malcolm or it's the guy who says clever girl.
What
It might
Muldoon?
even be both actually. Muldoon. Actually, I think it might be both. Get fatally injured and end up getting cloned, or at least it's sort of alluded to that they're both clones. Well, in the movie wise, because they've only just mentioned it, one character we know that should have been fatally wounded, but was up and running, to some extent by the end of it, is Dr. Malcolm. Now, what happens if he did actually die? Not cloned, shuffled him through.
The only upside of this is that we get two Jeff Goldblums. You realise this, right?
Well, no, because what I'm thinking is that he's now had a daughter
Mm-hmm.
who could, at this point in time, might be have a kid of their own,
Yeah.
and there's something genetically wrong. They don't know what it is, and then it turns out, yeah, it's because he's a clone and it's degrading, and that's why they have to go back to one of these weird islands with the mutations to actually see if they can stabilise what's wrong with those. That would actually be quite a cool little story, I think.
I did not realise that. On this map, just outside. Hey, Hadrosaurs. I was like, just wondering, what was that sound? I looked to my left and there's a bunch of Hadrosaurs just outside the map in a pen. Sorry, I'm just randomly exploring this map because it's fun. To be fair, I picked this mode because it means I'm not going to be like getting distracted constantly by. If I was playing the normal mode of this game that's in the background today, I'd be playing it at Team Deathmatch, which would mean I'd be very distracted, and Jax would be having to like carry the entire episode, like normal, but you know.
Not normal, yeah. But on the subject of dinosaurs, just real quick before we go on to other, there is a nice little website from many years ago called lifebeforedinosaurs.com. It's been retired. The actual website itself got retired in 2014 by its creator, who at that time I believe was about 10 years old. He started it when he was 7, drawing pictures of Precambrian life and fossils and doing talks and stuff. His mum would type this stuff out that he would dictate, and it was all put on his website. And it was actually very, very good and really well studied. And my friend Mike was actually lucky enough to have a full-blown conversation with him and his mum. Not really realising that it was just this really intelligent, at the time I think he was 9, 8 or 9 year old kid. And so yeah, my friend Mike's still happy as the T-shirt he got from them as a gift, a Life Before Dinosaurs. But yeah, if you want to learn about simply learn about some of the weird creatures that were around before dinosaurs, have a look at that website. Like I say, it has now been completely shut down. The young kid has now since gone off to college, and I don't think will ever come back to this website. But yeah, what he has left behind is actually a nice little snapshot of a really well-educated and really well-put-together kid, I think. And it's really a nice little look. So yeah, that's my thing. Kind of cool website. In other movie news, we did get another rather fantastic trailer the day before the Jurassic Park Rebirth trailer.
Which one's this?
That was the preview to us seeing first family of Marvel.
Oh yes.
Marvel owned the Fantastic Four.
It's so good.
And not white.
Oh yeah. Well, we briefly brought this up when you were on about the Thing before, when you were about people in comics getting mad at people for like, oh, why? It's not like this in the comics. I'm like, see, I'm one of those people that I'm going to say this before we like go into this full discussion of this, just to comment on that one early discussion, that I don't give a shit if it's not exactly like the comics, because the comics have a thing called, we have the multiverse in the comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I already know, we already know that the way that this universe is based, the MCU is based on essentially I've said this before, it is based on the old Ultimate Universe, not the new one, the old one. just with a little less darkness. And that's not a lie, because we can both agree there is a lot less darkness than there was in that universe, because that was goddamn terrifying sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. They tried to make a film based on the Ultimate Universe with Fan 4 Fit, or Fantastic Four 2016. And it was miserable. I mean, even beyond the actual problems that the massive problems that they had, and the fact that they ended up having to send out an unfinished film, it was actually a miserable, dark, dingy film. There are a few things from the Ultimate Universe that was good.
Yep.
And even in the comics were good. It weren't good enough to translate to screen, and that is a lot of it. The massive,
because it was, in all honesty, it was the Marvel edgy universe. And I'm not even going to deny that that's the truth of what it is. Marvel, it's
not.
It's the edgy.
The problem
universe.
is when it started out, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be edgy. It was meant to be more realistic.
Yeah.
It was meant to be if heroes, if we were here today just doing our normal lives, and then one day we started seeing people with powers, and how that would affect. So there was a lot more, especially early on. There's kind of a little bit more realism. I know that sounds stupid to everything.
Well,
including the hope and the happiness, because the Fantastic Four Ultimates were not so much doom and gloom. Weirdly enough, the Spider-Man early on wasn't so much doom and gloom.
I will say this: the Ultimate Universe did give us rise to one of the best versions of Spider-Man, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And what we did, although not much of it was worth keeping, in fairness, we did get characters like Miles Morales.
Yep. And I will never say a bad thing about Miles, because Miles is just fucking badass anyway.
Miles is an awesome character. One of the few Spider-People characters to actually stay in the zeitgeist and still be loved. Spider-Gwen has got that, but for a lot of different reasons.
It's also, Spider-Gwen is also relatively newer than Miles is, so she's still in that early stages of kind of becoming a bit popular, whereas Miles has been around for a decent length of time, comic book wise now, if you know what I mean, and is still relatively popular.
Yeah. No, my thing I would say is that, especially at the moment, and this isn't meant to be meant to sound degrading or anything to the character in particular, but with someone like Miles Morales, you've got him in as a great character, with great story and just fitting with everything. Spider-Gwen does do all those things, but the fandom with that character has, especially in the media or online and shit, has been that she's more of a symbol for other people than an actual fully rounded character that is in the path.
For the fandom, I will agree with you, but for her, actually, in comic book wise, her comics are quite nice. I've read it.
Oh yeah, that's it. I'm not saying what I've read I have enjoyed. I think I've read. To be fair, I think I've read more Spider-Gwen comics than I have Miles Morales comics. In all fairness, but yeah, it's just one of the things that her character is easily going to be one that we're going to still be seeing in 10, 15 years time.
Oh yeah.
I do believe that is a character that is going to stand the test of time, but for instant appeal and for literally just everything that the fact that it is a completely different character, but yet still recognisable Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, it's the fact that they've. It's also a nice way of them doing. It's a nice homage to the most. Let's be honest, one of the most heartbreaking Spider-Man stories, in my opinion, because it's the first time Peter. It's not the first time Peter experienced death, but it's the first time that we saw, one of the first times we saw that hero particularly suddenly go through something. Oh shit. It was an oh shit moment of what the hell just happened in this comic, because until that point the only thing we've seen Uncle Ben die, but we barely. It sounds bad what I'm about to say.
It isn't a character that we had any connection to.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has a connection to him. character, but readers don't.
Readers don't know. We just know Uncle Ben's entire job is always to die, basically. It sounds bad, but it's the truth. His job is he's the catalyst character in everything. He's the guy that goes. It's his death makes him become a hero. Usually in most universes, makes him take it more seriously and become the Spider-Man.
It's Jonathan Kent's heart attack. It's Batman's parents dying. It's Green Lantern's plane crash. They're things that just have to.
There are things that have to happen to make the character become who they are, or in the.
It gives them their thing that gives them their power, and in a weird, in different ways. I mean, for instance, the plane crash with Hal. Yes, that's where he meets with Sir and gets the ring, but it's also the first time he has fucked up in his career. He feels fear, and he overcomes that fear.
Yep.
That's what gives him the willpower to hold the ring.
Yep.
Not just his general shit.
It's Peter's for Peter. It's his pursuit of the guy that kills Uncle Ben, and then realizing that he could have prevented the entire thing if he'd have been responsible earlier. If he'd have actually,
But with Gwen in particular, the other point of that death isn't to be fridged, which is a term that comes later on. There is actually an important thing here. He can't save everyone every time.
No.
And if he's not thinking, he can do more harm than doing nothing.
Yeah. And it's the Gwen's death. It's also because we as the readers at that point in the comic had grown attached to the character as well. We've grown attached to Gwen. We've grown with. She's been in loads of stories. She's basically been as like initial love interest at that point, and it's that point of where they went. Yeah, so this is where Peter's life starts going to hell constantly from ever now on. Is the running joke because it was Gwen's death became basically Peter can never be happy. Why? Because he's not relatable when he's happy, but he is relatable if he's happy.
It's kind of a character curse. And weird enough that gets caught up in the Deadpool kills storyline. Is like, don't you understand? The readers only like you when you're sad. Oh,
yeah. Even though for years we've been asking for what they've finally given us in the new Spider-Man Ultimate Universe with Spider-Man, where he doesn't get his powers until he's already got married and has kids, and it's such a nice way of him going, so Peter, you're going to have a good life now. We're going to give you actually Peter that's been happy for years and is becoming the Spider person when he's not a kid. He's an adult that's kind of settled down. He's got kids and a wife. He's married to Mary Jane. They've got kids, and it's like, now he gets his spider powers, and it's like, oh.
Well, there was a really nice run. What it's called now? I'll refer to it as the Spider Family run, in which.
Do you mean Spider-Geddon?
After a load of no. So after some new tech comes and started up in, I can't remember the company that was named. I think it's Exxon, not Exxon.
Alchemex?
The one that keeps. Alchemex. I think it's an Alchemex building, if I'm correct. And they had found ways of tapping into powers, in particular Spider-Man's powers. But he manages to. It is all the story beforehand that the thing happens. But he manages to basically remake all this stuff and make a spider suit that lets him share his powers with the wearer. In this case, Mary Jane. Why is this important? Because their daughter has just started showing spider powers.
Yep.
And so the two of them take it in turns to go out and save the city, as well as doing husband and wife date nights where they go and patrol the city as a family. But
that's when we get Mayday Parker from, that everyone misses because she was a really well done character for it, I believe. That's the Mayday the May Parker comics Mayday Parker comics where she's because everyone loves her because she's like that hidden gem character. People we really want her back.
Yeah, there was an old series of comics from the 90s or early 2000s that was called Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker Spider-Girl, and they were very, very good. All set in the future. I think I said
she shows up in Spider-Geddon. I think you have some years. I've seen some of the comics, but she shows up in Spider-Geddon as well, and it's like Peter just getting confused when she calls him Dad. It's like what?
Well, in particular, there's a character that's a mix between Daredevil and Nightcrawler that I think is just absolutely awesome in the series. But yeah, so this one is her as like I think she's about 6 or 7 years old. But she leaves. She escapes from school because she has a spider sense. Her spider sense is different from her dad's. Hers gives her full imagery of stuff that will almost like precognition of
Yeah.
stuff that is going to happen. So she knows. So in her head, she's just seen her mum and dad be attacked by a dinosaur. So she's like, "Fuck! I have to go help my parents." So she rushes there, and nothing's happening. It's quiet until she causes something that happens that causes a dinosaur. Everyone has to be involved in this. And it's really, really good. And there's a bunch of these stories where it's just a family going on family adventures as spider people.
Yeah. It's just
perfect. Chef's kiss stories.
Yeah, it's like fans want to see Peter happy finally. It's like we're kind of bored of the whole. We get why it kind of happens in 616 all the time because unfortunately, Peter and MJ made the deal, and it's kind of, if anyone who's read that comic, if you read the comic, you kind of come to realize like that the actual deal was they can never be happy anymore. That's the point.
Yeah.
He's never allowed to be happy anymore because of that deal.
Well, together there is.
Yeah.
Luke.
They can never be together again, which is the debt, which yes, fans we stole it from us because but I think that the whole point of that comic was Peter needed to realize that he needed to let go, and it's because he hasn't realized he should let go of Aunt May at that point.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's he needs to reach that point, that growth point again, where he needs to let go, and it could possibly. I reckon if they get to that if we ever get a writer that explores that storyline again and does it, I do reckon it will end up undoing the One More Day thing.
Weirdly enough, I think we kind of have seen the end to that story. And this is not being said anywhere. This is just my ramblings. But if you've ever read I don't think you have, but it's the second part's about to come out. The second story. It's called Dark Reign, and it is set far into the future. Well, not far into the future, but 50 years into the future. And
is that the one where Norman's in charge?
No.
Or is it someone else is in charge?
No. Someone else is in charge. Someone else is in charge, and for a laugh, they've got Kingpin strapped up to a liquid food dispenser and nothing else, and are watching him for fun waste away. And every week they come out to eat a steak in front of him, and they've been doing it for 50 years. This guy's a psycho. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to give bits away of who these people are, but you've got to read it. But yeah, it's set in the future, and Spider-Man is now in his 70s, and things have gone. Peter Parker is in his 70s, and things have gone to shit. And yes, once again, it is for Peter Parker. Once you get to the end of this story, it's tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. It turns out that so this is right at the beginning. It's not going to be a big spoiler. It doesn't affect things, but after all these issues that they've been having, not getting together, breaking up, they finally do decide, no matter what, we'll get together. This is us, we'll stay together, and we're going to get married, we're going to have kids, and they try and have kids, and it never works until one day the doctors say, we're really sorry, but Mary Jane, you've got cancer. You are riddled with cancer. You haven't got long left. And that's when they find out he's radiated spider blood. It wasn't just radiated spider blood. It was in his saliva, in his semen, in his sweat. And he's Mary Jane. Oh. But that, to me, they've argued against Mephisto. They decided to fight against him. We're going to be together no matter what. And Mephisto gets his ending. It's dark, right? If you think about it like that, it's dark.
Oh yeah, it's dark. It's Mephisto,
right,
is it?
You want to go against the bargain we made? I will give you an ending.
Oh yeah, One More Day is the bane of Peter Parker's storyline, as well as a certain other set of storyline that constantly is bombarded as the worst thing they ever thought of from the 60s. Is it 60s or the 80s?
Oh.
You know which saga I'm
talking
about.
about
The saga that constantly gets the hate on it. It's like, oh, I fucking hate the Skun Saga. It's terrible.
No.
You'll
The
defend it
Clone
to the...
Saga was one of the best sagas in Marvel. It's so underrated, and to this day, it has given us one of the best Spider-Man characters, who still appears and still underrated. But whenever Spider-Man disappears, when they need to have a bit of a refresh, out of all the Spider people, who they bring Miles into this day? No, he's got his own shit. They bring back
What, you mean
Ben Riley,
Ben
the
bloody Riley?
Scarlet Spider.
Oh, yeah.
He is so cool. I just, he was my favourite. I just, hands down, I love this character. He's no Gambit. He's no Deadpool. He's no Marrow. He's not on that top 3 list. I'll give you that. But
He's just Ben Riley.
is he my favourite Spider-Man? Yes. Would I rather read a Ben Riley comic over a Peter Parker comic? Every day. Although
You'd be wrong,
some of the
but you're entitled to your opinion.
Well, at the end of the day, the Peter Parker Spider-Man have some of the best stories in Marvel. Yes. You know.
Well, it's got the same issue that Logan has, remember? It's not his superpower isn't spider powers, it's popularity.
Popularity. It really is. And that's actually one of the most truest things said in any film.
Well, it wasn't even a film. It was in Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe when he kills Wolverine. Your superpower isn't a healing factor; it's popularity. It's just then straight kills Logan, and I'm like, Wade, you didn't have to go for the throat. We didn't.
I'm sure they went for that. They went for a very similar joke in. I know that is in Deadpool Kills, because I have them all. But no, in Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm sure there is a mention of him having plot armor of some description because of ratings, and that's why they can go into the room. That's when they come out of the room.
Yeah.
After the thing, and
This is going to make him do this till he's 90. Still my favourite line.
Still a very good line.
Ow, I killed
And
myself.
very probably true.
You have to have.
That would be, to be fair though, they've got one hell of a chance here to actually have a Marvel universe in which they not only have a really good Wolverine, their new Wolverine, I'm sure whoever they get is going to be awesome, but then you can bring in Laura Kinney as well, there's X-23, a bit later on down the line, get everything settled, but get that actress in as the older version, and then you've got Old Man Logan, you've got Jackman coming in as the grouchy, old, just had enough of it all. Look, kid. Kid, 100% years old. Yeah, you're younger than me, kid. When he's talking to his younger self, sometimes he's just trying to referring to him as pup.
Oh yeah, it's one of those funny things that they can do with him. Hugh Jackman is just going to be funny.
All these actors. This is one of the reasons why I'm actually excited for a whole new rebirth. Not because I don't like anything, not because there's this new stuff that's not the best, or not because I don't like any of the actors that are playing their role. Because in all honesty, I don't think they could have picked anyone better for every single role that they've got. I may not like the way that they've portrayed the characters, as in directors and writers, but the people that they put in place to play those characters, yeah, they did good.
Oh yeah, I will never ever fault any of the actors that they picked. And personally, as someone who's a Spider-Man person, Tom Holland, they could not have picked a better fucking actor to play Peter Parker.
No.
There is no one I can actually imagine seeing him now, and that's some people will argue me and well disagree with me and go, no, it's Tobey Maguire, or no, it's what do you call it? It's Tobey Maguire, or it's Andrew Garfield. But I'm like,
Andrew Garfield, or it's the guy from the 70s. Look, here's the thing. Spider-Man is a character that holds a rare honour that only very few others do, which is a character that has been popular in multiple films with multiple actors playing.
Yeah.
You get, and I mean, hardly only one of the Batman films ever had a true sequel in the fact that it had kept the actors running over. All but one of the Spider-Man films have been triples with the same actor all the way through. Superman holds the same
To be
issue.
fair, Tom Holland, we already know Tom Holland will be back as...
Yeah. But the thing is, Tom Holland's done more than the 3 films, because he's also done the actual Marvel stuff as well.
You guys get 3 films? I got more.
Superman, same thing. Ever since the 70s, you've had multiple live action showings of that character, all pretty much done very well, with the varying results. But you had one person that is the icon because they did 4 films, and was the first. But
Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, but that's kind of it with those sort of characters. So there's not really many that you can go, oh, my favourite actor of this role is, and it's actually a good place to be in. Because all 3 of the Spider-Mans, although the Andrew Garfield ones aren't my favourite sets of films, but Homecoming did really fix up all the loops and actually gave me a sweet, really good, nice Spider-Man there.
Do you mean Far From Home? Yeah.
Yeah,
Far From Home. It gave his story like the ending it needed, and it also gave, because of the way his story ended. Where I always on the sad note of his story ended in one of the best, in my opinion, one of the comic moments that truly needs to define it. And I'm sorry, but my actual main issue with Tobey Maguire's one isn't Tobey Maguire. I enjoyed him as Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's that they just skipped Gwen Stacy and only introduced her in the 3rd film, and I'm like, but she's meant to be his first love. That's the whole point of her. She's kind of like, she is the first love. She's not. It's not Mary Jane first.
I do get that. The only thing is that, and once again, I kind of would have rather had her just not show up at all.
Oh, that's what I mean. Is right. If you weren't going to put her in the films, like have Gwen Stacy as his first love in those films, why did you introduce her in the last film?
Yeah, this is it. The problem is that when they made that film, they needed to have all the characters recognised by everyone that went. That would have some background to these characters. Obviously, people go know any of it. So if you did come in with, it's Gwen Stacy, you've got to remember this is now decades and decades since that happened, and you are also in a point where everyone knows Mary Jane and Peter Parker together. It's like it would be like now starting the film off with Clark Kent and Lana Lang together. It wouldn't feel right. So yeah, I kind of see why they did that. But once again, them bringing her in randomly in the 3rd film makes no sense.
Yeah,
at all. Literally, if you changed her to
Felicia Hardy, it'd be fine.
Felicia Hardy, or even what's her name? Something.
Which one are you on about?
No, I'm thinking of a character from The Flash. Don't worry about it.
I was about to say, if you're thinking of Cindy Moon, then Cindy Moon's new. Remember?
No, I was actually. Her name is Linda Parks, and I was like, yeah, it was one of the girlfriend. I was like, oh no, she's Wally West's girlfriend.
She's one of Wally's partners.
Yeah, no, she's the one that they both. So yeah,
the one that they based Jesse off.
No, so the Flash that we get in the TV series, Flash and Iris that we get in the TV series, the actual relationship that they're using there is actually is actually Wally and Linda's relationship in the comic books. The whole thing about a lightning rod and being able, whenever they're lost in the speed force, and being able to find their way back to his lightning rod. That was always Wally talking about Linda. It was never Barry talking about Iris. So yeah, it's those sort of things. It's a mix. But yeah, it's. But anyway, back to Spider-Man. Yeah, it just had to be done. There was a reason to do it, and bringing them back in with no concept of equation at that point. That character would have already been dead or just nowhere else. I think they kind of did it right a bit better in the Andrew Garfield one.
Oh yeah, bringing I Emma Stone and as Gwen Stacy right from the start doing it, and then in Far From Home having the whole point of I found my MJ, and then him realizing that both Peters have an MJ, and it's like, yeah, maybe you haven't found your like person that's going to heal you yet, and it's like, yes, it's finally we get the little hint that Garfield's Spider-Man,
is still very early in his story, and maybe he does know an MJ, he hasn't realised. It is because once again they're referring to her as MJ and not Mary Jane, and maybe he just hasn't.
Well, her name isn't Mary Jane in for Zendaya's one.
That's what I'm saying, but both of them are referring to their MJ, and maybe, like I say, Tom Holland's isn't Mary Jane, so maybe his doesn't go by either Mary or Jane. It's just Mary or Jane. They might not do the double barrel bit. So yeah, it's
one of those things.
I just can't wait to see what they're doing next. We know Sony have been trying to cook something up.
We know, but they've also just they've just completely abandoned their universe.
Well, they've completely abandoned. What they've completely abandoned is the external universe, stuff not to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah. They have a really good. See, the thing is, I would not mind Andrew Garfield getting another film. I would love to see him get like another film, just to even if it was just literally a film that's him facing off against, like, say, like one of his villains, like a post Far From Home bit, with him, like, the end of it just being him finding, his version of MJ. You know what I mean? Like, just to tie his story off. Just because I feel...
Weirdly enough, I do think his story arc with that has been completed by David Nico. In exactly the same situation that he was in with...
with Gwen. I actually... The thing is, that scene, like, even the trailer spoiled that there was the other Spider-Man in that scene. That's the funny part. Even the trailer did. Because if you paid attention to the trailer, even though they'd edited them all out, when they didn't edit the hand to be matching Tom's costume, and that was the problem. They were still matching Andrew's costume. Like, whoops! I only noticed that.
Yeah.
But but I will say this. I'll stand by this. That film, absolutely brilliant. I loved getting to see Andrew and getting to see Toby back, at least, like getting like a final send off to. It was, in my opinion, though, it was the beginning of Marvel's kind of thing of going. We've got these licenses back. We've got these two back. We've got Fox's back. We're going to now basically go and acknowledge these films came first. They may not be part of like the main timeline of the MCU, but they are Marvel Cinematic Universe films in a sense. They're just Elseworld stories.
Yeah, I think. See, this is the other thing. Or what if?
Yeah.
No, I think the thing that's happened is that at some point they have realised, and this is something movie companies are. So the fans will can always get it, especially comic book fans that are watching films. They will get what I'm about to say. Outside fans can get it, like they understand the world of movies, and movie companies don't get this shit until it's bashed over their fucking heads. We can understand that certain things happen in different realities when it comes to TV shows, films, and books. And if you just say, especially with Marvel Cinematic Universe, you say this is it. This is a sacred timeline, which is what they ended up fucking doing.
Yeah, they had to do it.
Everything out of this, everything outside of that, isn't connected to this. It may have the same characters. It may have the same actors. It may be the same characters with different actors. It may be a story you've already seen, but slightly different with the what if stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's all part of the same universe, but not the same timeline.
Yeah.
People can work that stuff out.
Oh yeah.
But and I say, if we have Marvel going together with Disney going, you cannot the Agents of Shield isn't canon, isn't law, isn't anything to do with this anymore. All these aren't, all these things aren't, all these things aren't. And people going, but these could actually be some of your best things if you integrate them.
Yeah. And it is I do think a lot of it is Kevin going, is Kevin. Kevin probably working with Ryan and going, if in case of Deadpool and Wolverine, going, you know what? We need to show Disney that they need to acknowledge these other shit, because that's what, if you acknowledge them, people are going to enjoy. People, you've got more fans that will watch things because they might have only liked the show, but they might then, oh, I'll come and watch your movie. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the big thing that I personally think was the big turning point for Marvel, with Disney, is the fact that DC, for a small chunk and for the worst reasons possible, for a small bit, broke all their rules about not letting character contamination happen by allowing Tyler Hoechlin to play Superman for originally just a couple of episodes. That's all it's meant to be. A nice little kiss to the fans.
Yeah.
Whilst there was a cinematic universe going on, but also with the things that's because there were so many issues with the Flash film, they allowed the Flash series to run extensively longer than they were ever planned.
Oh yeah.
Which gave us this great thing. But what happened is you had two events happen that I think are crucial, barring those little things. One is Crisis on Infinite Earths, the specials, the crossovers. When they started bringing in characters like Burt Ward from a different reality, playing Robin from Universe 1966, when you start seeing the Titans and all these other different universes that aren't connected to the one you're watching, but you see them. And that means that they existed alongside them. They may not have interacted, but they were there.
And then the unfortunate cameo of a certain person that I don't like.
Which is what I'm getting to. So you did have that cameo, but then his film is the second, although a horrible film. Horrible on every possible level. It had one thing that once again must have kicked Disney in the bollocks, was when they showed that speedball bullshit and they showed all those different universes. Like the Nicolas Cage Superman, the 1930s Batman,
the Christopher Reeves one, which
and then Linda Carter and all those things. That was, although done badly, that did hit fans in a way. And then all of a sudden Marvel went, fuck, because we have a back catalogue from Netflix that did an amazing set of series that people still rave about today. We have Fox's back catalogue, which isn't the best, but it's there. And we've got, and now we've got Universal's back catalogue, which once again isn't the best.
No,
but is there.
And it's like,
and if you'd have put that in for a storyline where you're talking about multiverses already.
Yeah, it's like, oh look, here's free real estate, and here's free shows that people might just suddenly, I might watch that.
So and that's it. That's perfect. And once again, for the people that have already seen it, now that it's actually part of a massive canon, they might go back and rewatch just in case there might be a hint to something that one of the writers in modern day are looking into.
Yeah.
Or on the other side of that, someone that's never watched this stuff before but has only watched the MCU stuff and has just seen Matt Murdock save Spider-Man from a brick in the face.
Yep.
Go, wasn't there a season of that somewhere? Oh, wait, they're making a new one that is a follow-up to that.
Yep.
Oh, I'm now going to have to go back and watch 60 hours.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. I've watched 60 hours, but there's all these spin-off shows to it, like they had with the Arrowverse.
Yep. There's a reason. There's a reason I am. I think we've discussed this for last episode, 2 weeks ago when we did the last episode, the Born Again episode, when we were discussing the Daredevil Born Again trailer that just came out. That had come out just then. The fact that I was so happy that John Bernthal's back as Punisher, because I was like, yes, because he is. No offense to the people that played Punisher in those two god awful movies. I'm just going to say it; they were god awful, but the actors did the best the best they could. But
you think there was only two bad actors?
Look.
Have you ever seen have you seen the Dolph Lundgren Punisher film?
Which one's the Dolph Lundgren one? Again, I remember Punisher Warzone and then the Punisher. Those are the two I remember.
Oh no. Yeah, but you're such a young, sweet, beautiful woman. I'm older than you.
I know, you're an old man.
2 movies before that.
What's it like being 300 years old?
Well, I mean, I remember Samuel Pepys hiding some cheese in his back garden and stole it.
But yes, there was a Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
It sounds-
1989, The Punisher.
Oh god. Yeah, no wonder I've not seen it. I wasn't even born then.
Yeah. Then there was. I can't remember if this
God.
was properly released or if it did just stay independent. But yeah, there is. Dirty. The Punisher. Dirty Law. No, that was a comedy thing. That I'm wrong. Uh, yeah. No Mercy was the other one, and then you go into the good ones from 2004 onwards.
Yeah, they're not. I don't like the 2004 ones onwards. The ones I've seen, the Punisher and Punisher Warzone. I didn't like them that much. Now going back at them, I liked them when they came out. I'm not going to deny that I did, but as I look back at them, I don't like them anymore. But then again, that's like my thing I said the other week, where like weeks ago when we were discussing Dragon Age, and I went back to play Dragon Age Origins and absolutely hate Alistair all of a sudden. Like, I used to love Alistair. He was one of my favourite characters, and then I'm like, I can't stand you at all. You are so annoying. Go away. I don't want to deal with you anymore. But like,
So yeah,
going back and watching certain shows and certain things, I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I've seemed to have grown past it, and just don't like enjoy this sort of like humour thing anymore. And I'm like, yeah. It's one of the things where I'm now realising, yeah, maybe I should not watch certain shows that I used to enjoy when I was younger, because I'm just going to hate them all of a sudden now. And I don't think it's the show's fault. I think it's because my taste in stuff has changed. Like,
what I've found, especially because I'm now in a position where I have kids and they're showing me stuff that they're watching, I'm thinking, oh, this is actually quite fun. Some stuff I've already watched, in particular Hampton Hotel. This is something my stepdaughter wanted to show her mum for ages.
yes,
And
Hampton Hotel is awesome.
And I've already seen it, and I was like, oh. I mean, we'll be alright. I mean,
I can jump really high on this map.
and yeah, it went as it was good. Everyone all enjoyed it, I think. But it had got me. I mean, I'm a massive South Park fan. I have been since the first episode aired on Channel 4. In fact, before that, because someone had a VHS of this weird show that their friend had got from America, and yeah, it was like the first episode, and that helped. And then we did find the online. Anyway, doesn't matter. Massive fan, loved it. But I've been going back and watching some of the old ones because I still watch the new ones, up to date, fully up to date, still love it. I'm not one of these people that say, it's got bad, I'm not watching it anymore.
I have no issue with South Park. South Park's whole shtick is South Park makes fun of everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, like left, right.
The thing is that the characters have grown. The characters have grown. The writers have grown.
Yeah.
The creators have grown. Everything about it has grown up, and they dig at things differently now than they did back in the day. In fact, it's very subtle. Their soul is still a sledgehammer to the face.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it is very. Some of the things are very subtle. Watching the old stuff, and I'm not saying, I can't believe this, because I remembered, I can say some of these episodes verbatim. But watching some of it, and I'm just like, I can't show these.
No, you can't show these to your
kids. Not because they're immature or anything like that, because some of the stuff that they watch, I think, is on par, especially some of the innuendo, or some of the imagery. But actually, the stories that they do are so against any kind of modern sentimentality that you couldn't. I mean, how would I go through explaining Free Hat McCaw, the chicken fucker? How do you go through? They got an Ethiopian called Starving Marvin accidentally sent to them, and they just tease him with food. Because it is actually a scathing commentary on people giving handouts to these charities to feed someone in famine for a day, when actually these massive companies could just fix it this week.
Yeah.
So just one person giving one hungry person $1 and it's a chicken nugget isn't actually helping. you're just making hunger porn, or charity porn, and and actually what they were doing was very good. But you have to explain that.
Oh yeah. It just looks like it's South Park has always been somewhat of a kind of social commentary as well as a absolute satire of things. But it's a social commentary on everyone, not just like things that people think are. Oh crap! Fuck off, dialogue.
But one of the things was how very early on, and this kind of actually shows once again how we went through a period of only caring about this stuff when we can try and rage a load of people about this stuff. So one of the big things at the time, weird enough, wasn't sexism, racism, and generalised racism. Because specifically, people what they wanted to pick up on at the time was anti-Semitism and the things that were being said. And so, Trey Parker and Matt Stone sort of look at each other and go, "Yeah, don't you think it's wrong? Why do you care?" Well, it's wrong. Yeah, we're Jewish. We hear this shit on a regular basis. That's why we're showing it to you. You hear this shit on a regular basis, but you're only angry about it today because we showed you what gets said all the time, right?
Pretty much.
Is your problem with us, or is your problem with the fact that this happens all the time? Because it doesn't seem to be. You're not reporting that it happens all the time. You're reporting about us, all right?
Oh yeah.
Genius move.
Well, to be fair, it's also like what is it? When on TV shows you have like two, on a TV show you have say, this is good. This is a bit thingy. Like on a TV show, like a Disney show, they have two same-sex parents. Like for a kid on the, one of the kids has two same-sex parents, for example.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, for some weird reason, it's only a problem. It's like they complain about it and get mad about it. Like, oh, you shouldn't show this to kids. I'm like, because it's all sexual. And I'm like, how is it sexual? It's just two same-sex parents, doing the same thing that, straight parents do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just giving it to a kiss. I'm like, why is this sexual yet when... Oh, crap. I missed. Headshot.
Well, that was... weirdly enough, both South Park and Family Guy have done this joke. And I don't think the Simpsons have, oddly. And it's the fact that they're talking about exactly this, kind of exactly this, about the weird gay couple. I think it's Big Gay Al they're talking about in South Park episode. And I can't remember who it is in Family Guy. But as they're talking about it and saying, no, you're probably not the best, they're putting on bondage gear. And getting ready just to be absolutely rooted out with dildos, leather masks, and whips. And it is so fucking funny. Because, one person finds that absolutely abhorrent and sexually weird and deviant. Just two people sitting there with their kids. While they find it really funny the couple that's looking on leather and chains and whips and are about to absolutely rot themselves senseless.
Oh yeah.
it's just so funny. I find all these sort of things funny because it's how do you not realise that you're angry at the economy?
There we go. Killed that one. But yeah, it's like a.
Going back to my thing, So going back to the point, the original point is, although the way we perceive things now, at least at different ages and societally, it's actually kind of more acceptable to show hardcore drug taking, or at least people that enjoy hardcore drug taking and all kinds of different kinds of in brackets here deviant sexual activities on TV, then it would be to now have those original South Park episodes talking about a chicken fucker and a kid from a famine uh, country. It's hilarious. But then again, also there are some really good episodes that are banned, like and even the people that create the show are very anti-ban anything. But some of these just don't anymore. Whereas there are some that they're quite they actually would like to get back. One in particular is the. Do you remember the Timmy Turner storyline?
Is that the? Oh crap! Oh. Timmy Turner is in Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents.
No.
Oh,
In South Park.
I don't remember that storyline.
So it's a ginger kid that keeps bullying Cartman, and he actually sold him some cubes, and he found out that these were worth. Cartman tries to get them back, and it starts basically a war with this older kid who's just constantly beating him down every step of the way until it comes to a chili eating contest, and Cartman's feeding Timmy his chili, and he's like, "Do you like it?" Because I won't go through the whole long thing, but basically Cartman manages to get both Timmy's parents shot by a farmer, and then he grinds them up and puts them into a chili and feeds them to Timmy at this chili cookout. One of the darkest episodes ever. Only for a few seasons later, for Timmy to come back, only to say, "My dad fucked your mum. You're my brother. And you killed your dad and fed him to your brother. But also, what's worse, is your dad was a ginger."
Your dad's a ginger. Oh,
Cartman freaks the fuck out. And you can think that is the end of it all, but there is actually a game that is very hard to get hold of called Timmy's Revenge. Yeah. Is it Timmy or Jimmy?
I don't remember. I don't remember the ginger character's name.
I don't care.
I just had ginger jokes. I know what ginger jokes are like. I get them every day.
I'm sure you do. But yeah, if anyone's interested in that storyline, you have to find part of it obviously on the legal websites because they're not officially available unless you've got the original DVDs and cassettes. But yeah, the same with Super Friends is no longer available, which is the episode that actually has Jesus, Buddha, and Moses.
What about Mecha Bitch?
Oh no, that's a different one. But it basically has and Allah. It has all of them together with a super team like Power Rangers or the Justice League going around saving people in the crisis. And of course, it actually does depict Allah in that episode, and no one gave a shit back in the day. And then when they tried to do it again many years later, America shut the fuck down. They were like, "You can do this." Fox was like, "We will take our own off air if you try and put this on it. If you don't understand."
Don't mind me. I'm just trying not to die. But yeah, in regards to well, funny you should mention America at the minute because apparently our country has put a travel warning on going to the United States at the minute.
I hadn't seen that, and I've been up to date on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, apparently there's a couple of countries that are putting travel warnings on travelling to the United States at the moment.
That just could easily be a bitchy manoeuvring of things going on.
Well, yeah, everything going on at the minute is just...
Because nothing, security-wise, nothing has changed.
Well, it's a lot of the warnings seem to be for this country may have heightened acts of terrorism at the moment.
Well, to be fair, that is true.
Yeah, that's kind of, and I'm like, oh, okay. This is not a good sign. The country seems to be destabilising. Oh god, compies. Generators online. I've got turrets. That protects me.
But yes, the other big trailer we've managed to get through is Fantastic Four. We started and we jumped right away to something. So yeah, it's very much a 60s aesthetic.
Yeah.
Very, very. It's so much stuff taken from those original comic books.
It looks so good.
Mm-hmm. And for me, before we even get through the stuff that happens throughout the trailer, at the very end.
Oh yes, you're on about the bit that made me happy when I finally watched the trailer. After you told me about it.
Makes the whole thing worth it.
Oh yes.
And like I said to you when I saw the trailer, if we only get shots from the back and nothing more, I am still a happy man. Because Galactus is in it, and Galactus looks like freaking Galactus.
Yep.
It doesn't look like the perfect storm.
He looks like he should do, and it's actually good. Sorry, I'm just... But yeah,
So
it's the other. So I want to talk about another trailer. For this is one that's more probably for me than you, and as a horror fan. The film that traumatized an entire generation has decided to release another member entry to the franchise. I mean,
really, there's going to be another Frozen film.
Funny. There's going to be another Final Destination.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they had completed their loop with the last one.
No, there's a new Final Destination movie, and kudos to the guys making this one. They understood the assignment.
Destroy shit, kill loads of people.
Oh no, the trailer doesn't reveal anything of the actual overall plot, right? The trailer is just a 2-minute, thing showing you how Death's going to get someone in the film. That's probably like a beginning of the film thing, if you know what I mean, before everything happens. But it's just a 2-minute lineup thing to show how's this guy going to die, and you just get to go through the actual full kill, and I'm like, yep, that's how you do a trailer for a Final Destination movie, because you're not oh yeah, it's going to be a scary horror movie. It's no. This is a Rube Goldberg machine of how people get killed.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there are certain films that don't actually need a plot.
No.
So, and Final Destination is one of them. So
Final Destination's also, its plot is so simple. It is one person in an accident gets the premonition of that they're all about to die. So basically,
other people get off.
So yeah, prevents
other people save themselves.
Other people save themselves, and because they listen to them, or that person just goes crazy enough to stop what's about to happen, to stop a bunch of people going on, and suddenly they're the only survivors out of something they should have all died on. So Death is I need to clean up the list.
And the rest of the film is you watching really entertaining and unbelievable ways for people to die.
Yeah.
And then at the end, someone thinks they found a way of stopping it, and they have.
Well, they have. Someone breaks saves the last two people by basically either killing themselves and then getting resuscitated, or having a baby. If there's, and honestly, I'm all for it. The idea that the way you're defeating Death is basically just that someone has to either die and come back, or one person has to, or a new life has to be brought into this world that shouldn't have been. And Death's I now have to reorganize my entire calendar for this bullshit because you've just messed with shit. But this one's called Final Destination Bloodlines, which makes me think, those characters that survived. I'm thinking, are we going to finally get the whole? That's it. I've finished with all the people you created by all the other bullshit you created. I'm killing all of you off this time. I'm restoring this.
I think they're all going to end up. I really think so. I think it can be very similar to one of the final Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street films, in which you find out because I think it was one of the survivors from the first film was in either the second or the third film, and you find out that she's been locked in a padded room in a psychotic wall, and literally they get her out. You survived. You must do it. And instantly, boom, the place explodes.
Dinosaurs.
And I wonder if that's what could have happened as well. These things they would have somehow one of them's found out that this loop has been closed because of the events of the last one. I think they're safe. They come out and they've just started the loop. They've started their own loop back over again with all the people.
Oh yeah, for everyone else. Which, don't get me wrong, if that's the case, I am all for it. I just want to watch. I'm not watching these films for the plot. I'm watching these films for the. Okay, so what crazy, ironic way are we going to kill these people now?
That's it. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm there for.
I mean, the trailer straight up is a dude who's a tattoo artist, right? Who,
Yeah.
you think, oh, it's this thing that fell that's going to kill him. Nope, that's not what's going to kill him. And then, it's this thing that's going to kill him. Nope, that's not what kills him. And then it's like this fan just spinning overhead, and then this is that, and then like a chain that looks like it's it keeps going up to him. It's like, is the chain going to just fall and he's going to get hung on the fan? No. The chain. A bottle falls over. He leans over to go pick it up. As he does, it's the chain snaps, swings down, hooks onto his nose ring, and wraps around the fan. And you're just like, this is unbelievable how this guy's going to die, and it's kind of hilarious. And you're like, I love this. It's just, this is, in all honesty, this is a Final Destination kill because it makes no sense. Like, this kill shouldn't work, but it does. And then gets lifted up by the fan, starts climbing on the chair, then climbs on the desk, to keep so he doesn't get hung by it. Finally gets hung, swings onto where the bottle fell before. That his lighter has now fallen off the the desk because of another chain reaction from someone rolling across the desk and set fire to the gasoline that's on the floor and sets him on fire. And it's just like, yep, this is Final Destination. And I'm like, thank you brought back a franchise that I generally enjoy. And not because it's got a plot, just because it's silly. Like, you just seen people die in stupid ways, and I'm like, I can live with this.
No, yes, I was talking about the new Godzilla films recently. I'm once again big massive fan of Godzilla, even the older one. Love the older one. They weren't my bread and butter when I growing up. But yeah,
by the new ones, do you mean our lovely Godzilla X Kong New Empire?
Yeah.
I love that film. I will not say, I have nothing bad to say about that film because I got exactly what I wanted out of it, which was giant monsters fighting.
Who went in there expecting that?
I know. I don't get why people want a plot from a Godzilla movie. It's the same with Transformers. I don't like that. I don't mind the plot in Transformers because Transformers the animated series did have a plot. My issue with the Transformers movie is the plot focuses on the goddamn humans far too much. I don't give a shit about the humans.
That's always the problem. Always the problem. But here's the thing: someone with a straight face said to me about the new one. Like, the plot was awful. I barely understood it.
All you had to understand was Kong needs Godzilla's help, and Mothra came back because Mothra always comes back.
I didn't directly laugh at his face, but I was like, what did you not understand? It was like, well, pretty much all of it. I don't really know what was going on. It's like monsters
punching
fight each other in last film, kept apart,
so they don't fight each other repeatedly.
One monster gets beaten to shit where he is and has to escape to the place that he's not meant to be. Then he has to fight with monsters from previous film. Then the two of them get fixed up because they're about to get fucked up by the big thing from the place down below, and then they all go fight there, and then they fight everywhere. They just fight. They fight everywhere.
Well, no, correction. And fights the monster from previous film. And then fight gets broken up by monster from previous film's wife coming home. Because let's be honest, that's all Mothra is. She's Godzilla's wife.
True, yeah.
It's the missus came home and said, "Stop fighting with your friends. You need to work together."
The more powerful one woke up and went, "Alright, pull this shit together, boys."
I know. I will never ever fault that. I love that they've kept the whole aspect though of Mothra being the one that like kind of is more thingy of humans than the others. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that they kept that aspect.
Mothra kind of needs to be the go-between. Weirdly enough, though, I do like the fact that they kind of really do have a go-between with the Death Girl and Kong can then communicate with Godzilla and back and forth. So there is that weird thing. But yeah, no, the emotional connection should always be Mothra. She is But she's the queen of the monsters. She is also sort of like the healer of the world. That's her. That's what she is about. Not only because she can resurrect herself, but because of the exorcist.
Ow,
Her
we're dying, we're dying.
Power.
We've been lizards.
Who think is
Ow. Yes, leaping lizards, but yeah, Mothra is just badass. It's Mothra.
Yeah.
I'm still sad that we only got Ghidorah and not we only got Ghidorah and not Mecha Ghidorah. We never got the Mecha version of him yet.
Yeah, but we don't do it. King Ghidorah is one of my favourites.
It's just the best.
Always is. And once again, controversial take. I love all versions of King Ghidorah. It's just, whenever that three-headed fucker comes into play, it's going to be a good film.
Oh yeah.
I kind of really liked the version they did in the animated show.
Do you mean the one that's on Netflix?
Yeah, where Ghidorah is actually not an alien to the planet, but is actually alien to the universe.
Whereas also doesn't have a physical body. He's that energy sort of creature instead.
Yeah.
I will admit, I did actually genuinely enjoy that version of him.
It was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the reason he is such a big problem is because he is basically the Godzilla of his world, and he was brought over by the aliens. Because that's another thing people forget.
Godzilla has aliens in it. I always love that.
Yeah, original Godzilla was aliens. Aliens were called improper, not from the original. It came a bit later on.
Yeah.
To be fair, but there are these tiny aliens that cause havoc, and is one of the reasons why it is doing shit. But what's funny is if you read the Power Rangers versus Godzilla comic books, in which the Power Rangers and their villains get teleported over to the Godzilla universe, Rita finds the aliens and she's like, "Oh, you make monsters as well?" You're like, "Yeah." And this is the tallest you can get them. So yeah, between her, Finster, and these things, they make their own monsters, and she makes them go up to these even more gargantuan sizes that needs the Megazord and Godzilla to fight alongside. It's very good. She does not like the aliens at all. She's like, these are idiots, because they are idiots. Even in the original film,
they are. Well, in the original, just remember, I still love that Japan bought the rights to Zilla, the American one, and then had him get killed in less than 30 seconds, just to go, "No, America, this is Godzilla." And it is still my favourite thing of having Godzilla basically jump over Zilla, turn around, and then just atomic breath him to death, and it's like, that's Godzilla. They're not him.
I mean, every kind of all the Japanese versions. It's a movie. It's a movie. That's how best follow.
Final Wars is just really funny, and it's like I love the Japanese Godzilla era is like not the new one. The new one is not a funny film. It's more of that is a serious film, and I will not.
Yeah.
I will never. I won't say anything bad. I've watched Finest One finally because it's on Netflix, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. I genuinely enjoyed it.
What was weird is we got two fantastic Godzilla films that actually came out at the same time. You had -1 and Shin.
Yep.
Shin
Godzilla is really nice because I love the whole Shin Godzilla thing of how he evolved over the course of the movie. That was such a really good app.
Yeah, and both films did something that you actually notice if you look at it. That was kind of noticeable. They something very, very nice. So back in the day, these things were done with miniature cities with people in costumes stamping over cities. and then you would film like minutes when the things like, especially if they were on the ground or something, the tanks happening on the ground. You would have a mix between people running in, people running around in themselves, but in an aspect ratio, so it looks like the little miniature city is a big city. A bit of camera trickery, and they would do all these other little things. But that artwork, that actual way of doing, making the cities, having people walk around them and then be able to reset them and light them, and make them look the way they did back then, is a dead art. People in those big costumes lumbering around doing shit is actually gone for the most part. That's why modern Power Rangers and things that had all that stuff back in their day and the early stuff no longer have it. It's not really so much because it's cheaper to use CGI, because actually not. It's because the artwork, the actual people that did it, died off and no one followed it on. And if you actually watch, they've actually digitally made those things happen. And so when you actually watch it, every so often there is a bit that looks exactly like it's come from the original 60s stuff and earlier stuff, with the miniatures in place. When actually it's all digitally done, but it's just this nostalgic taste. And it's very nice for someone like me that like the old stuff. Yeah. But I will say, I am very much looking forward to the next movie we got. I was not a fan of the Monarch TV show. What the heck was going on with that?
I have no idea. I've not watched it. I don't have Apple, so.
Oh yeah, I actually.
I have no bother if you're going out spoilers. So I'm probably not going to watch it.
No. There's nothing, literally nothing to spoil. It is like. It's all the worst parts for me of that final Jurassic Park film. It was mostly talking and ballroom crap.
And barely any monsters, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, I mean there was a few. Don't get me wrong, but it's like you've called this show Monarch, which is meant to be about these people that are herding and looking after some of these massive titans that are comparable. Like not on a one-on-one fight with Godzilla, but 2 or 3 of them are a fight for Godzilla or for Kong, and there are some that are a fight for these characters, and they're meant to be looking after them and going after these sites, and we're seeing them argue over the efficacy of doing what they're doing. I don't give a fuck.
Is it the same thing as like my issue with the Transformers movies?
I mean, no. This isn't the fact that they're not just. It's not that they're not. There's too much human drama. It's. They've really just not got the assignment. It's kind of. Like with the last Jurassic Park film, I didn't want to sit there and watch a boardroom about people talking about whether or not they should be doing stuff with dinosaurs. I wanted to see dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
We see this. We've seen this a lot with films where they want to be high and mighty in the message that they're sending. Not that.
It's not a bad thing because to be fair, science fiction is all in honesty. Because let's be honest, Jurassic Park is science fiction. Godzilla is science fiction. Mm-hmm. Their sci-fi has always been a somewhat commentary on the world through a different lens. But sometimes I think that some of these people that make these films, some of those films like the Monarch or shows, don't realise that you need to balance that with the actual sci-fi action stuff, because people want to see.
I mean, there is a fantastic role in writing and in movies and TV and anything to do with entertainment. Fantastic role, and it's show don't tell.
Yep.
If you have to give me a 40-minute dialogue to give me your message, and you can't show me that in 40 minutes of action with the things I wanted to see, you've messed up. I don't like a great example of this is when we've discussed this is Captain Marvel, the Marvel film. They tell us about a fantastic film that happened before this one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't show us it. It doesn't mean anything. It is you've messed up. This film here would be better if you showed me the one you told me about. 100 times
That was funny.
And those things they do are sort of, if you show me your message, that's actually going to be more impactful than you tell it.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Because you can just you can tell me in anything.
Hmm.
You can, but there is also this pushback currently from.
A great example of the opposite of this, right? He, Spider-Man, in the Spider-Man film, in what we were just talking about, where all of them are together, and he's being mopey and everything. If he had said, "Oh well, I didn't save the love of my life, I actually killed her in this movie," or whatever, and then does it a lot, and then he goes off and then plays her, but when he comes back, you don't see him play because he's holding her like, "I got her." It means bullshit. But as a viewer, 9 years passed, and then watch him make that same dive and capture and bring her back.
Yep.
1,000 times more effective than him telling us the backstory of it, and then just showing him bringing her back safe.
Yeah, because it's basically it's showing his redemption. It's like him getting finally, being able to, like, not so much showing that he's now going to be able to live with himself. That he's just finally, like, he saved the other Spider-Man from going through the same thing as he did. Because honestly, if MJ had died at that point, right, I would say this, because it's Michelle Jones is MJ in the MCU, right? If she'd have died at that point in that film, we both know full well that Toby would not have been able to stop him.
No,
I don't think that would have been the point of no return, and we'd have ended up with essentially not back in Black Spider-Man, but Spider-Man when he's actually no longer gives a shit anymore.
Oh, I mean, do you know what? Although I'm really excited for what they gave us at the end of the last Spider-Man, which is a more grounded Spider-Man
and comic accurate costume. He finally got his comic costume, if you notice, at the end of that film, which was so happy.
Okay, yes, that hit me in the stuff about a comic accurate costume. Not my most important thing for Spider-Man, to be honest, but it hit me in the feels, and I would love to see that move forward. I hope that's what they're doing moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would love to see a less gadgety Spider-Man doing the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man shit until something like he comes across something big happening, doing his normal Spider-Man shtick.
Subject to friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. Have you watched any of the episodes of the first episode yet?
I've watched the first 2 episodes. I completely understand. Do you know what? I can see when they've added the changes after the fact. I actually, for example, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong with this, but I think the wiring to his webbing is a later addition than the rest of the animation. I think that's one of the ways that they wanted to after the fact, because originally all this was meant to be actually canon early era Tom Holland.
Yeah.
For it release, they said actually no, because we wanted a bit more freedom with some of the characters. We've had to pull away from that.
Have you heard the slight controversy around it at the minute, though?
Oh no.
I'll let you do. So it hasn't affected my enjoyment of it. I've enjoyed it, but the guy who's Peter Parker in it, the voice actor, quoted in an interview going, "I was worried the show was going to be woke and annoying, but it's not that." The actor and the people pointing out that I think you misunderstand Spider-Man if you're thinking it's not going to be woke, because by the original definition of it, not the what it's turned into, the proper the actual original definition from like the 80s and 60s. Because everyone forgets that term is not a new term; it's an old term.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you've got. I would say that he could be referring here to what happened with Velma. Which, once again, I don't like this term, but if you were putting it on the scale, that is a woke piece of bullshit. Whoever put that together out of a box of this is what we should do, kind of a bug. It is the worst thing in the world. It looks like it has been made by a committee of old white people that are reading what should be put into a show to make it popular with kids. And everyone's looking at it going, is that what happened when the coat hanger misses? Because that is awful.
I know, right? That show. The people go wondering why that show got 2 seasons, and my brain just went, "You hate watched it. You hate watched it. You made it popular enough for them to think, oh, we did right."
Yeah.
And that's
you know what? Yeah.
That's what happened. People hate watched the show.
I think a lot of people saw the controversy of it, watched it, and went, and then followed on the same thing because they were into the drama. They wanted to see what their favourite YouTuber would slag off next week, and you kept up with it. I mean, I didn't. I watched 2 episodes and I was like, this is. Well, I watched the first 2 episodes.
So I'm going to admit this. Never watched the Velma show, and my primary reason for it is I heard the stuff about it and watched the trailers and a couple of YouTube clips of it, and stuff, and went, yeah, this is not my thing. This is just,
Well, here's the thing with me. Scooby-Doo actually has a weird place in my heart. I'm not a hardcore fan of everyone. I enjoy Scooby-Doo. I don't know anyone.
Best Scooby-Doo episode is still Scooby Natural.
Scooby Natural. Now here's the thing. All of Scooby-Doo, pretty much, up until Velma, has an interconnected story. And there are a ton of timelines that actually just literally hold this shit up. And to the point where the supernatural episode is incredibly important to the timeline. And the reason that is because up until that point, pretty much every time that they fall, other than I think one of the movies, which did have a weird actual ghost in it, up until that point, every time that they solved a crime, it was a man in a costume, or a man with a hologram in, or that. After the supernatural episode, you actually have episodes with ghosts and monsters, because some of them escaped the supernatural universe.
Yeah, well, wouldn't you run from that universe if you knew the Winchesters were going to come for you?
Not only that,
it's like the Winchesters.
After that point, we find out Scooby-Doo is not only an alien, but he's from an ancient race of hyper-intelligent aliens that is possibly connected to some sort of eldritch god. Now, this is all canon, by the way. This is in the shows. You can watch. This isn't some fan fiction. This is in the stuff they have released to you. And once again, it all follows this timeline. And yeah, Film is the one that sticks out, and that's why it holds a place in my heart, because it has this weird connection. And because I'm a big fan of Katie. But other than that, yeah, it's one of those things. It's just quite funny. There is actually, if anyone is interested, there is a fantastic run of comics from a few years ago.
You know what the Scooby Apocalypse one?
The Scooby-Doo Apocalypse.
It is. I did not expect to love that series of comics as much as I did. I was genuinely shocked at how good they were.
Yeah.
Because I was one of the people that I'll admit, when I first heard about it, was like, oh, this is going to be shit. Why the hell are they doing this to Scooby-Doo? And then I read the comics and was like, this is actually fucking good. This is actually kind of cool.
It is really, really good. Way better than it should ever have been. And yeah, that's what was fantastic about it. And the artwork for it as well. Look like the cover art is just funky. When you see the whole team sort of not mech'd up, but they've got gear, they've got tech, and they're going after some sort of
I also love the way they did it, where Shaggy was a dog handler at the facility. At the Scooby's just a super intelligent dog that they made. It's like I love the whole idea of it. It's just like it's weird. It's out there, but
It is just weird. And then you've got the films that sort of stand alone in their own universe. They're their own thing.
yeah.
But yeah. Oh.
It's just one of those things that it's like, yeah, this is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, there's so many weird shows like this that have these weird backstories when you actually look into them. And a couple of fans have sort of linked it all together. I mean, the same thing goes with all the stuff between Rick and Morty and Gravity Falls and all the weird connections there. There is even it's actually quite a good theory. Although I can't remember all the ins and outs of it, but I remember seeing it. Actually, this is quite funny. My dad is connected, but it is kind of funny. Is the fact that Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls maybe Alistair from Hazard Hotel, and the giveaway is the star, the single eye. At least some ways that would make them somehow connected to it. Bill Cipher. Maybe, or at least maybe that's who the deal is with that is causing Alistair an issue.
People do have weird theories connecting other shows together, don't they?
They do, but the problem is, especially Gravity Falls, or a book came out I think last year, or a game and book came out last year or this year, with Disney's approval. That was a mixed reality game, and it had so much lore, and the whole thing that actually Bill Cipher is this multi-dimensional character is a deal. He affects our reality as much as he affects any other reality he bounces to.
I like how I just read that sign. That sign that says that down there is the Spinosaurus. Is Spinosaurus. Oh, okay. I'm not going that way. But also, I can't kill the last enemy, which is kind of annoying.
Why is he behind that barrier?
He's on the other side of the map down there. Oh, he's there now. Got him. It respawned. But yeah, so we've got Jurassic World Rebirth, looks amazing. Final Destination Bloodlines. The trailer was like, yep, this is what I wanted from a movie. Yep. The Rebirth trailer was like, yep, this is a Jurassic Park / World movie, and this looks really fun. Captain America, Brave New World. I'm going to see that next weekend when it comes out. 'Cause it comes out on Friday.
I haven't broached the subject with my wife whether or not I can see them without her yet. So we'll see if I get to see that. But, yeah, we'll see. That does look very, very good, though.
Oh, it does. Well, I'm going with my partner in regards to watch it.
But I don't have any concerns with it. I know some people seem to.
The people that have concerns at the minute, it's because Andy Mack said the exact same thing that what's his fate that Chris Evans said about Captain America.
Yeah, I know the whole it's not Captain America, America. Yeah, I mean.
Well, even the comics has said that. It's like that's even the character in the comics has said themselves about it.
It is the modern interpretation of Captain America, and it has been for a while.
Yeah, it's not that he represents your country; he represents the the actual proper American ideal values. Is what he represents.
Something that they actually started up. I think just before the original Civil War thing, where he weren't really liking the fact that he was just being used as a bannerman more than anything else. You saw this in the movies as well. He didn't want to just be a showman. Although he was going off working with the Avengers, he was still and actually there were some things he wanted to get involved in that he was being told he couldn't. They did move away from that, and then that also then led into the Hydra, Captain Hydra stuff. Weirdly. So, yeah, I get it. I get, especially in the climate that America is in right now, I get a lot of hurrah around it. But once again, that's not affecting. So much of everything gets only gets seen through an American lens.
Yeah,
Especially
it does.
when movies and TV shows come into effect. Because the rest of the world doesn't get a look in, and actually there's more people there to sell to. A great example of this is the Future Commando show. Um, Not available outside of America. Well, there are billions of people outside of America, and a couple of million of them really want to watch this show on TV. They can't. They've had to watch it in other means. So when it does come to TV, unless they really, really, really like it, they won't watch it on a channel that's going to get numbers right. And if they have really, really liked it, you know what? They've watched it multiple times and it's something that doesn't give you ratings. It means you're missing out on millions that you need to use to get paid and to show how popular the show is. Because you decided the rest of the world isn't good enough. The problem is that the UK in particular has always held a fantastic little thing that was done as a fuck you to the rest of the world. Because back in the day, we didn't get movies and TV shows a couple of weeks after America, a couple of days after America. It was months.
Yeah.
6 months to a year.
Well, yeah, I remember being younger and looking up release times for films, and it was like, for some films, it was cinema US, like 6 months before cinema UK, and then, you know, the released on DVD 6 months later after that in the UK.
I mean, it used to be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, but that was only that was for me looking at that. I remember it was like the 90s, like only the early 90s as well. So,
well, I mean, the big thing, one of the reasons Sky in particular, when I was younger, became so popular, is because they could guarantee getting the biggest American movies only within, I think it was within 3 months of them coming out to general release in America. And everyone flocked to Sky for that 3 months. We wouldn't on TV. In 6 months to a year, we might get it on. I mean, we'd get it on the cinema, but to take it home, you'd get it on the cassette, like maybe 6 months to a year after it's been on British release, cinema release. But then, you know, to actually watch it on TV, oh no, that'd be years away. Years away. We ain't going to see that till Christmas, like 2 years down the line, when it's a big deal and the BBC can get it. But yeah, Sky were like, yeah, you can watch it 4 times a day if you want.
Oh yeah.
What? Yeah, I mean, I remember the Addams Family film being very big, and we were getting told about it all over the time. And yeah, I mean, I think about a week after it was released in America in the cinema, people were knocking on your door. Like videotape guys were like, we've got, do you want a really, really good quality copy of the new Addams Family film, like £2.50. That was expensive back then, but you paid it.
£20.50 was expensive.
Oh, fuck me, yeah.
I know. That's what I'm making the joke of, because it's like, oh yeah, £2.50 was expensive. I remember those days. Remember, we are British. We measure our economy on one thing and one thing only, Jax.
Freddo's.
What is the current price for Freddo?
Current price for a Freddo. Well, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when they were Freddo's.
You all must remember when there were dinosaurs. You keep forgetting this.
No. I'm not that much older, but I remember when we went into the shops one day after school, and there was Taz bars. And what a Taz bar was a Tasmanian devil in a little yellow packet of caramel. And when you opened up, the chocolate was actually a little Taz.
I mean, Taz is in. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Taz the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, no, they were around when I was a kid.
Yeah,
they're not around anymore.
They were tempting. No, they're not around anymore. But the thing that came out from the dairy milk alternative to that, because that was the Cadbury's caramel alternative, the little Taz. But the character that was for dairy milk chocolate, the little alternative, was Freddo. And no fucker liked Freddo. They wanted to. There's no one who the fuck Freddo was.
And the irony being, the Freddo is now the British economy staple, and Taz is not.
Yeah, well, they did keep the license, but I don't know why and now they just use caramel Freddos.
Hmm.
It kind of makes sense. It's their own character. Um, but yeah, I remember them coming out, and everyone, it was like Prime.
Oh yeah.
You had to have a Freddo. Um, it was stupid. Well, not a Freddo. You need to have a Taz. You need to have a Taz. You want a Freddo.
Gotta have a
Although
Taz,
it's
mate.
exactly the same price.
Gonna have a Tasmanian devil, mate.
Yeah, they're like crap. What was the other thing that was popular? Oh, when CDs came. I mean, I remember when CDs started to become stupidly popular, like and home music. Because my dad had one CD player. Look, I think when I was back, well, at least one or two. I mean, he had a good music setup. Um, but I remember when they become like hyper popular, and everyone had one.
Mhm.
Um, and you could go into the shop and buy a CD case that had a CD size, exactly CD size, bubble gum with a picture of a band on it. You pick your favourite band. And I remember people picking bands because they liked the flavour of the gum inside, and it was all the same, bloody gum, pink flavour.
Ah yes, pink
Now,
flavour
there was
gum.
some weird shit. There was just some weird crap back in the day.
Back when
Terry's is the
Terry's chocolate orange. It's not Terry's,
no
it's
no.
mine. And then
So
there's Terry's
before
chocolate.
at the same time, Terry's did a thing, and I think it was Terry's, but it was a mint pyramid. And I mean, this is what got me into mint chocolate. This is what corrupted me. These were little mint pyramids with like a mint, so a dark chocolate with a mint fondant in the middle. And oh man, when I could save up, I think it was like 25p. But once I had 25, like, because normally you'd buy loads of little chocolates. But if you like 50p, that was it. It was a bit more expensive. It was 50p. If I had 50p together, I'd get one of them. Bang, I'd get one of them. Or a packet of Ferrero Rocher. 3 Ferrero Rochers for 50p. Where are you going to get that anymore?
Oh no, we just got a packet of we bought a big box the other day, and it was like eight fucking quid for just like 12 of the Ferrero Rochers.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
they're ridiculously
Actually,
expensive nowadays.
yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so, I mean, I would love a time machine to go buy stuff back then. Because actually some of it tasted better, let's be honest. Because
Yeah,
there was
well,
so much nutrients and stuff like that.
well, it was also, let's be honest, a lot of it was a lot less health, was a lot more unhealthy than it is than some of it is now. It's still unhealthy, but some of it back then was probably a lot worse in the health factor, because
I don't know.
some of the ingredients they had were stuff that we now ban because they are way too unhealthy.
Some of them, yeah, but I mean, in a lot of cases, things like we replaced molasses with sugar and then with cornstarch. Both of those were worse than molasses, and actually, shit tastes better with molasses.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, if there is an element of spice as well, but yeah. I mean, we really shouldn't just wonder on about ancient British confectionery, I guess, but we did
Confectionery
have some cool
product.
stuff. We did have like high C, or it was what was it called before? I know it was high five, but what was it called before that? It had because there was two juices I loved. There was one that had slime on it, and it weren't the Ecto Cooler. It was something else. It wasn't the one that keeps getting shown on all these shows.
I
But
don't even know what
it
that
was
one
like
is that gets shown. We never had the slime of thingy drinks when I was a kid.
no, they'd already gone by then.
Yeah.
But the one that you might have still seen because these were around until like the mid 90s, late 90s, um, was the Thomas the Tank fruit drinks.
Yes.
Little fruit boxes.
Do
And
you mean Thomas the
between
Tank
that,
Engine fruit drinks? Uh-huh.
yes, you had Percy, which was the peach one. I think Thomas was raspberry, and so on and so forth. I'm telling you now, no fruit juice in my life has tasted as good as those. And I used to get those well up until the day they stopped doing them. I was still getting them, and they were nice.
They were good. It's fun to look back and with things with nostalgia and go, yeah, these were really great. But then you look at what was the ingredients in some of these things, and or for some of those things, and go, oh god.
Well, so there's one thing that you can't get anymore. The cans are still getting now. So one of them was in the hype when Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters were like the hugest thing in the world. There was a Ghostbusters candy bar, chocolate bar, that was a milk chocolate bar with a strawberry fondant all the way through the centre.
Yeah.
And I had eaten a lot of these as a child because I loved Ghostbusters, and I begged my parents to buy me one of these. Never anything Ghostbusters, but if it was a chocolate bar, I know.
Do you know a chocolate that I've not seen in years that I miss?
I will finish this. I freaking hated the taste of that damn strawberry stuff. But by golly gosh, I ate every single one because it was a Ghostbusters bar and had a picture of the Ghostbusters on it.
as you do as a kid. It's got my favourite thing on it. Eat it!
This day, every so often I get a taste in my mouth of that strawberry fondant, even though it doesn't exist anymore. I don't think they can make it anymore. But I'll just be sitting there and I'll go, oh, I remember that flavour. And I'll be like, I hated that shit.
I hated that flavour. To be fair, that's what the flavour I get. That's like the flavour I get whenever I have being a bit gross, like really bad. You know when you get like a bit of indigestion and you keep burping all day.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I always get the same flavour in my mouth of like. Because I'm not a fan of black licorice. For me, it tastes disgusting. Like I can get people like it, but for me, it's one of those things that tastes disgusting for my taste buds, right?
Yeah.
And I get that taste, and I'm just like, I hate this taste. It's so annoying because it's always seems when you have like something like it gives you like a random taste in your mouth. It's always that taste you really fucking hate. It's never something you like. It's always a taste you really fucking like. I don't like
every so often I do. But no, just talking about black licorice in particular. So, on my dad's side of the family is Dutch. So, they're one of the big in Holland.
I have seen a YouTuber eat the Dutch black licorice, and yes, I know that it is a whole different ballpark than the one that we have over here. Yeah. It's so different.
It's called salt biker.
Yeah.
Like my nan and my dad can shovel that. Well, not my nan when she was alive, but my dad. They can shovel that shit. Like they all just sit there and eat them like they're Maltesers.
Yeah.
And I licked one once and couldn't taste anything but salt for like a week.
Yeah. The one that that the YouTuber that I watched ate was one of their hot ones, if you know what I mean. You know, the spicy ones. And he ate the whole thing in one go. And for the rest of like the podcast I was watching that they were doing, you had the other two hosts just laughing at him because they'd already eaten it and tried it like ages ago, and he'd never tried it before and got sent it to somebody some of his Swedish fans, some of his like Swedish and Dutch fans. And even them in the chat were going, "You shouldn't have done that," because he's like, "Oh God, what did you do?" Because for the rest of the show, he's just suffering, and all you suddenly hear is, "It's burning." It's just, for God's sake.
One of the weirdest ones that licorice taste is a popular taste out there. I remember my dad's cousin bringing me and my brother this gift, and like me and my brother still talk about this now, about how fucking weird this gift was and how weird we were for accepting it and using it. So out there, they and this is an old thing, very old-fashioned thing even for them. There's this tree, and its sticks are, twigs and stuff have a licorice taste to them. And what you do is you get some of these sticks, and they sell them in shops as like a confection thing, and you just put one in your mouth like a cigarette, and you just sort of chew on it and suck on it and just walk around. But
Yeah.
this is a very old-fashioned thing. And they bought us some. And me and my brother were actually, we quite like the taste of these. And we were walking up and down the street with these sticks in our mouth. And it wasn't until my brother, I can't remember if it was me or my brother, dropped one
Oh yeah.
on the floor and picked up just a stick and put it in our mouth and went, oh, that's a stick. When we realised they're all just fucking sticks. Walking around the street with fucking twigs in their mouth looking like complete pricks. Never went back to him again. Never went back to him again.
Oh yeah, I can fully agree with that. But yeah,
I mean, how me and my brother did get beaten up walking through South East London in the 90s with sticks in our mouths, chewing them like we're some hillbillies from the back country. It was, I do not know. I do not know. We did it for like a week.
I know what you mean.
Oh, good old memories, good old days. Britain was fun back then. You was actually had to do shit.
I know, I could punch you in the face and no one would care.
No, it's strange. Like, I remember one school trip we went on, and we went to, I think, Margate or somewhere, but I can't remember where it was now, but the teachers were like taking us to the cliffs. And we was looking over the cliffs. No, I'm not a big guy, so I didn't go far. I always think this is true. I've said this for years, by the way. One of my friends who knows this exactly. So he will look at the situation and go, he's not going to do this. It's like, why? It looks like the beginning of an episode of Casualty. And that's what happens with me. If I look at a situation and go, I've seen this, or I can see this at the beginning of an episode of Casualty, I don't do the thing. So when everyone started walking over to the cliffs and it was like, oh, what's that? It's grassy here and it's just dirt and not rocks, so don't go too far. I saw an episode of Casualty where people slip off the side and everyone dies. And I was like, I'm not doing it. In fact, I'm going to sit back here. But a few years later, this was when I was nearly, I think I was like nearly 19. Nearly 18. Because I was with the cadets at the time. And we were meant to be going out on a boat. And why have you got a picture of Rimmer?
I was trying to put the picture of Rimmer. Why is there a picture of Rimmer on the stream?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was trying to sort something out because the stream broke.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're offline.
No, we're online. I will be back in like 2 minutes. I'm just gonna end the